Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Two for Talking podcast. I'm your host, Corey Tusick. We've got comedian Joe Bartnick. You can check him out on February 15th at the Shamrock Comedy Club in Fort Lauderdale, and check out his tour dates on joebartnick.com. And as always,
I'm sorry, Corey, it's the 17th.
What did I say? 7th? Oh, yeah, February 17th, Shamrock Comedy Club. Way to go, typo right off the bat. And as always, we've got the great Josh Yohe with The Athletic, and we want to thank our sponsors, Bill Neofis of Neofis Insurance and Danny's Pizza and Hoagies. So let's start with the opening shift here, boys. The Penguins are 6-2-2 in their last 10. They are in second place in the Metro, 6 points behind Carolina, but they're also 6 points clear of the Flyers, and that's the padding they really need outside the wild card. They've been playing well, but this 4-game sweep in Western Canada, I think, has people starting to take the Penguins more seriously than they have all season. And Josh, you were there in the locker room, so what I wanted to ask you right off the bat was, like, what was the vibe like after these games in the locker room? Especially like Edmonton, but yesterday kind of scratching out a tough win. What's the feeling in the Penguin locker room?
First of all, Corey, I wish that would not have been a typo, because if it were the 15th, then we could have done like Fort Lauderdale, Joe Bartnick, Valentine's Day weekend. Nothing says romance like going to a Joe Bartnick show.
Nothing brings couples together.
Yeah,
like an hour of Bartnick on stage. But thanks for the plug, Josh.
I can't stop thinking about that now. Okay, Penguins. Listen, this was the best road trip the Penguins have had in years. It really was, to go 4-0. The signature win, obviously, was in Edmonton. They didn't really play well yesterday. And you could see that one coming a mile away. A little bit too much time in Vancouver can be a bad thing for a hockey team.
There he is.
Hi, guys.
Hey, the Wi-Fi working now.
Can't hear a word. Is it my Wi-Fi? Am I the problem?
We can hear you now. Can you hear us?
Oh boy, I can't hear a word you guys are saying. I'm gonna reload. Sorry, everybody.
And that I'll use every cliche in the world until we get our Pulitzer Prize winning writer Josh.
Can you hear us, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, this goddamn Canadian Wi-Fi is never any good. So I'm using the hotspot, which seems to be working okay at the moment.
That's fine. I vaped for so long, I feel like I own a vape store on McKnight Road.
I think I know the one. But yeah, so Josh, you were talking about the vibe with the team, what they're feeling like in these 4 games out west.
You know what? It wasn't really celebratory. I think we're to the point where they just think they're pretty good, and they almost expected it. The game in Edmonton in particular, like, I don't think anybody saw that coming. I think we all thought, well, that's the one on the trip they're going to lose back-to-back night at Edmonton. That's kind of a scheduled loss, and they destroyed them like all night long, really. And I was wondering what the mood would be like in the room after the game. But I got to be honest, it wasn't like they had just won a playoff series or something. It was kind of ho-hum. We won, great. Who do we play next? It's just a very confident hockey team right now, but as best I can tell, not an arrogant one, and I think that's a good thing.
Well, it was so important, Josh. I did go over that we were 4-0 on this trip, but we were happy to get 5 of 8. We got 8 of 8. I think the next 5 are very winnable, because in March it gets daunting. But we won't look that far ahead. I thought the key of this whole weekend, or this whole week, was just to decisively beat Calgary at their own game. That seems to be when Gino's line has really taken off. They're like the best line on the team. Yesterday, every time they were on the ice, it was like, wow, the ice is just tilted. They're getting chance after chance on the rush. And I just think that Calgary game, because then you had money in the bank. You could play free and easy. You knew it was Shelov's. I was kidding around, like, you don't want to go to the shootout. But then Shelov's played great, because I don't know about you guys, but it wasn't until Raquel scored to make it 4-1 that I felt like, okay, we can maybe win this game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The 3-0 right off the bat. I was like, I've seen them blow this before.
Yeah, and given who they were playing, you're thinking, oh geez, Edmonton could heat up and get on a heater and throw 4 goals together in 10 minutes like nothing. But it didn't happen. and it was probably the most impressive win of the season in a lot of ways. But you're right, Joe. That Calgary game, they beat Calgary at their own game, and really, when the Penguins are at their best, I think they're winning kind of boring hockey games. Like I would go back to the first game of the season at MSG. That was a boring ass hockey game. Now there was nothing real exciting about that game, but when they play that way, they're obviously not giving up goals, and they still have enough talent where they can play that way, and they're still going to manufacture 3 or 4 goals. They're at their worst when they're playing pond hockey, and they really are. That's the game that I think they need to get away from. So, listen, this was a really impressive road trip, and you look at the standings now. It looks a heck of a lot different than it did 10 days ago. And you're right, Joe. The schedule's soft. Look at their next 3 games. Home to Chicago, home to the Rangers, and home to the Senators. Like, that doesn't mean they're going to win all 3 of those games. That's often not the way the league goes. But get 5 out of 6 points there at least. And man, they're looking really good to make a playoff spot if you just do the math.
The Puckopedia, you know that one they do like the pie slice of like chances that you make the playoffs, win around, make it to the Stanley Cup. And like I remember the Penguins, they're currently their odds to win the Stanley Cup is larger than their playoff odds were at the beginning of the season. Like it's a bigger slice. I'm not saying they're favorites. It's just if you take 5 out of 6 points here, I think you're in really good shape.
They're Rodney Dangerfield. They're just now starting to barely get respect from the Canadian media. It's hilarious how who's gonna? I'm shocked that the Rangers stink. I'm shocked that Washington is as bad as they are. I know Philadelphia stinks, and I'm kind of shocked that the Islanders are playing this good. But can the Penguins get some respect because they absolutely dominated this road trip? I thought Vancouver. I think it's a sign of a very good team that they cannot have their fastball and still win the game. I thought Gino's line looked great. Of course, little Ben Kindle played well. I don't think Sid's line played very good at all. Lazat's line was on the ice. I thought the D played pretty good, and Skinner stood on his head. But as a whole, that was one of our worst games in a while. But they still won. I know Vancouver stinks out loud, but most times a decent to mediocre hockey team doesn't win a game when they don't play their best.
No, that's right. You have to win games like that sometimes, and you could see it in the first 5 minutes yesterday. Like they just didn't have their legs. And this team usually does not play as well when it has a long stretch of time off. We have seen that all season long. Sometimes you need a goaltender to steal a game for you, and that's basically what he did. Stu Skinner's numbers are unbelievable since Christmas. He is playing out of his mind. And the rebound control, the guy doesn't give up rebounds. He doesn't give up bad goals right now. This is the best stretch of goaltending we've seen from a Penguins goaltender in years. So I think that's really encouraging. And I love the fact, Joe, that, Sid had 4 points in the 4 games on the trip. He was fine. But it's not like he's carrying them right now. They are getting offense from everywhere. Mm-hmm. They are not giving up goals. They're doing everything right. I didn't see this coming. I don't think anybody really saw this coming, but now it's to the point where if they do not make the playoffs, it would be a profound disappointment. And I also think it would be a surprise. I just think that's the way they're trending right now.
I am literally I'm very happy to do it, but I have to eat crow on just about every single thing I said in July and August. Almost every single thing that Dubas came up with has worked. I'll list them. Hey, he hired Muse. Muse totally worked. Witherspoon, top 4 defenseman, playing with Carlson, not trading Carlson. Carlson's played amazing. Not trading Rusty or Raquel, which I was against, but still they're playing great. Mantha, Brazeau, great. Shinnecock, incredible performance. The secondary defenseman he's bringing up, the Shea, sticking with Shea, sticking with St. Ivany. Even Caleb Jones looked good for his cup of coffee. Everything has gone right except for maybe Brunicki. That's about it.
Yeah. He's kind of batting 1,000 right now, and boy, with the Stu Skinner thing, how did Edmonton react to that? Like, are they aware of what they have with Tristan Jari? Because to me, it was just, in Tristan's head, he was like, I got to do everything I can to make the first save. Don't let the first shot go in. And he's like, boom, I made the save. And then after that, it was boom, 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 3 goals in a row. And it just, I think I think the Edmonton fans are starting to feel a little regret. I don't know about you, Josh. What do you think? Oh, we lost Josh again.
He's froze. I think it was funny that he stopped the first shot of the game, which was a good shot. And like, oh, Jari's heads in the game, and then gave up the next 3.
I know. It was just boom, boom, boom.
And he still had the same nonchalant, hey, not really taking responsibility, kind of letting it roll off his back, but not really in a positive way. That can't be going over good in Edmonton, where their backs are against the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Josh, what do you feel about Jari's kind of immature, press conferences after games, or even immature, but just not really taking responsibility? Does that go over well with Leon and Jesus?
No, that's the word you can use. He's incredibly immature. He always has been. Probably not. I don't know. And some guys just don't really care what other players say. Like Jari used to rub people wrong, I think, a few years ago, and then they just kind of got over it and that's just like the kind of stuff he says, but whatever. But you're around Skinner for 10 minutes and that's it. That's a pro. That he knows how to take accountability, and it seems to be sincere when he does it if he has a bad game. Jari, he's always kind of been that way. I don't think Jari's a bad guy. I think he doesn't know what he's supposed to say after games. And sometimes he gets his cliches mixed up. He's like every Calvin Lelouch. Sometimes he struggles with the cliches and he'll get them mixed up. And it never comes across as overly authentic when he talks after games, that's for sure. Boy, the Penguins really gave it to him the other night. And the funny thing is, most of the guys in the Penguins locker room like him. Like, they actually had a good relationship with him. Even Murray would rub guys the wrong way sometimes with things he would say after games. I don't know if you remember when Matt first came along. Like, Matt Murray would never say he played a good game when he did play a good game. He'd win 5-1 and play great. He'd say, I didn't play very well. But if they would lose 6-5 and he had a bad game, he would always say, oh, God, I was good tonight. I was sharp. It's, just the way it goes. Really, Matt would play psychological games with himself, I think. That's not Tristan. I'll be honest, I don't think I quoted Tristan for about the last year because I never found anything he had to say to be all that valuable. But yeah, he can rub people the wrong way for sure. He's just a different kind of guy.
I felt that I felt that the criticism, it's like people in Canada, I seem to be fixating on this because I listen to so much Canadian media. They were all disappointed that Skinner didn't play in Edmonton. And I don't know how you feel, Josh. I thought you take the pressure off him. But in the bigger picture, Muse is trying to get at least 4 points out of 6. So why not play your better goaltender against the 2 worst teams to make sure that you get those 4 points? And then maybe you catch lightning in a bottle and beat Edmonton.
Well,
it's not Muses or Dubas's or the Pittsburgh Penguins to entertain you people in Canada. In Edmonton, to sacrifice him in Edmonton. It's for the Penguins to win hockey games and make it to the playoffs.
What happened on this trip, the Penguins, Dan Muse, they never came out and said it. But this was the moment where they basically abolished the whole 50-50 thing. And they said, hey, Stu, you're the guy. Okay. Because he played in Seattle. And I think everybody, myself included, expected that they would go Shelovs in Calgary, and then Stu plays in Edmonton, and then Shelovs plays in Vancouver. Well, it's not Little League. You don't always get to play in your hometown if you want to. You don't always get to play against your old team. And honestly, after talking with Skinner a few days back, I don't know that he wanted to play in Edmonton. Goalies don't always Flower hated playing in Pittsburgh. He always told us, those are my friends. I don't want to play against them, really. And then John Gibson hates playing in Pittsburgh, never plays well. You can go down the list. I didn't necessarily get the feeling that Stu wanted to play in that game or that he was all that eager to or that he cared. I love that he went with his best goaltender against Calgary. Just make sure you get that win. He went with his best goalie against the worst team in the league in Vancouver. Make sure you get that win. And to Shilov's credit, he played great in Edmonton. But I think this was the moment when the Penguins said, okay, Stu, you've given up like 13 goals in your last 8 games. Like, you're the guy. We're going to ride you right now, as they should.
Absolutely. And they really, if he stays at this clip, I mean, that's, he's not going to stay at this level. But, let's just say he finishes out the season very strong. It's going to make a very interesting summer conversation and decision.
Yeah.
Another thing about that happened in Vancouver was Ben Kindle getting off the schneid. And Josh, I'm really glad that you pointed this out in your article, because I kind of felt the same way. Like, everybody was kind of panicking a little bit, like, oh, Kindle hasn't scored. But if a player, like, I didn't notice that he hadn't scored, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, when I think about it later, I'm like, oh yeah, Kindle hasn't scored in a minute. But you pointed out in the article, and I think it's a great way to put it, is that, like, it didn't look like he didn't belong. It was just the puck wasn't going in for him, and I think that says a lot for him. And then he had this huge crowd of 100+ people in Vancouver.
Yeah, I was talking with some Penguins team officials. They've never had that many ticket requests for one player. It's 192 people. Kendall had all of his friends and family, so he must be a popular young man in his hometown. But you're right, Corey. He is so good defensively, and he just makes those around him so much better that he literally could go 19 games without scoring a goal. And, like, that's not ideal, but it was okay. He wasn't hurting the Penguins at any point during that stretch. And then he gets a goal, and Joe, you could see the confidence in him immediately after he scored the goal. He wanted the puck, and he scored again. He's been an incredible story, and all of these forward lines are just perfect right now. Everybody's doing his job, and that includes Ben Kindle. And I think the Olympic break will be great for him. I'm sure his body could use a rest. He's going to get a few weeks off, which is great. But even when he's not scoring, he's continuing to help the Penguins. And hey, he's got 10 goals in like 45 games. That's pretty darn impressive for an 18-year-old center.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Like, nobody wanted him out of the lineup. No one wanted to send him back to Wilkes. I was throwing out there, just give him a day off, but only a day off with Bros, who I guess Bros is dinged up. It's not, it's not a long-term thing, but he can't just come up and play. Because definitely I'll take him over Hayes. Obviously, a one-arm Ben Kindle. If he could break his arm, I'd still put him out there over Hayes. But I do think that the extra day off, maybe Mama's home cooking, did him a world of wonder. Or maybe Vancouver's just that bad.
Or maybe he was just due. But no, he's... and remember, he's not on the top power play now. He was getting some of his goals on the top power play when Raquel was out. He looked really good doing so. So he's not necessarily getting the opportunities to score. But there's not been one game where I said, boy, Ben played like crap. He really hurt the Penguins today. He doesn't really have bad games, and he's just so reliable and so smart. Even if the scoring comes and goes, which it will for a player that age, I have nothing but positive to say. He's a really nice kid. It was really... Everybody in the locker room was thrilled for him after the game. They were all, you bring up Ben Kindle's name around any of the veterans, they get a big smile on their face. They really like this kid.
Yeah, it was, like we said, for the last month where he hasn't scored, he's probably made only 5 visible mistakes.
I know.
He's playing Ronnie Francis hockey. Like, I have no problem. I just thought the kid might have needed a breather just because he looked hard now. Like I said, he looked full throttle yesterday, and the 4 lines are, all running. I think Raquel's found his legs again. He's playing a very physical game, Raquel, and I think it's helping him out.
Yeah,
I'm saying the physicality part because things may change now. Because I rewound it 30 times. I couldn't see the hit that Russ put on that guy's head.
That's exactly where I wanted to go with this. I was going to literally just tee it up for you, Joe, because my blood's boiling seeing some of the takes online about Brian Russ. So I'm like, they're talking about your boy. Like, you got to be pretty furious. I don't see anything. I think he was trying to make.
He hit him in the damn head.
Well, no. I'm saying, like, no, intent wise.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he was trying to actually hurt him. I think he was making a hit. He clipped his head. It happens. Like there's so many fans I've seen. I guess I got sucked into the algorithm. I don't know, Joe, if you've seen it in your feed, but it's just like fans that like want Rust head on a stick. Like it just drive me nuts.
Vancouver's always been a completely whiny bunch. I mean, I remember when Pedersen was a rookie and he weighed like 110 pounds, and every time he got knocked over Vancouver, they went a major penalty called. It's like, tell the guy to eat some Wheaties and stand up. I know. I mean, did he hit him in the head? Yeah, it was the ultimate like skating by somebody to make a play. I didn't see anything malicious. I know he's my guy. I didn't see anything malicious. I literally had to rewind it like 10 times.
I agree. Listen, I've taken some heat from our friends in Vancouver as well. Maybe the most insufferable fan base in hockey. Actually, they're really obnoxious. I don't mind if they give Rust a game. He clipped him in the chin. He did. And if that happened to Sid, Pittsburgh would be going nuts. That's reality. My only point on it, like Corey said, like there was literally 1 second left in the game. Besser had the puck. Like Rusty was just in desperation mode to try to stop him from scoring. So was it reckless? Sure. Might he get a game? Yeah, okay, maybe. But for anybody that I saw these people saying it was predatory and a predatory hit, and no, it wasn't. It was a desperation play with 1 second left. It was a guy doing anything he could to prevent a goal. So was it a dirty hit? I don't think it was a dirty hit. I think it was an unfortunate result. If you want to say he was reckless and he gets a game, okay, he probably will get a game now that there's a hearing. That's usually the way that works. But Brian Rust isn't a dirty hockey player. And I think just situationally, because there's 1 second left and the guy has the puck in a 1-goal game, he was like, screw it, I'm going to hit this guy to win the game. I'm not saying he should have hit him in the head, but I think we need to consider that when analyzing the situation.
How many cross checks have you seen with 1 second left or the buzzer going off to the back of Sidney Crosby's head?
Yes.
In the last 20 years or anybody else's? And how many times have the Penguins done it to somebody? I mean, that's just hockey.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, if you like, Rusty's the opposite of a dirty player. You know what I mean? Like, sure, he goes hard to the net, but I think I saw in the replay and I rewound because I'm like, what? He was helping Besser up. Like I don't remember Matt Cook helping a lot of people up after he hit people, so
right.
For anyone trying to make that, say it's predatory, that just drives me nuts.
No, I completely agree. He is having a hearing with the league about it. I believe they said tomorrow morning. So I'm going to guess he gets a game probably. They are sensitive about head contact, and I understand that. But anybody who thinks that was premeditated in any way is just wrong. And
the bigger question is, though, who are we? Please don't. I don't want to see Hayes
on the top.
We're doing so well. We're doing so well. That's my biggest concern. I'll pay his game fine.
Well, that's actually an interesting question to see who would go into the lineup. Could call McGroarty up if he wanted for a game. They have some options. You don't want to see Kevin Hayes chasing Connor Bedard around on Thursday night, Joe?
No, I don't. And I don't want the sanctity of these 3 lines broken up now.
Yeah. No, I know. The lines.
That's the bigger question to me, Josh. Is not like, oh, well, let's just move Shinnecock up or let's move. Right. Why? All the lines are playing so well.
I know.
But I certainly don't want Hayes on the top line.
No, I understand. It's an interesting spot. Dan Muse will be in if indeed Rust is suspended. Yeah. These people in Vancouver want Rusty to go to jail or something. Like, gee, that might be the softest bunch of fans I've had. It's unbelievable. Like, Jesus, it's actually usually I don't get too irritated by opposing fan bases, but it's like even their media is like, oh, the NHL is taking this very seriously. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, it happens. It's not the end of the world here. So yeah, I don't know if Rusty is out. What will they do with the line combinations? It's an interesting question. There's a part of me that wants to see Sid with Chinnikov for a game, but that's by far their best line right now. And in fact, I wrote last night about it. I knew that Gino Malkin had told people in the front office last summer that he wanted to play with Tommy, that he thought he and Tommy Novak could have some chemistry. Gino really felt that, and we didn't see that in the first half of the season. We're seeing it now. And I asked Novak about that, and he said, yeah, he said, Kyle actually told me last summer Gino wanted to play with me. I was like, oh, okay, great. And he said, like, anybody could have chemistry with Gino the way he's going right now. And that might be true, but I think Tommy was just being nice and humble, because clearly he is playing very well. And that line was unbelievable yesterday, almost every shift.
Absolutely. And I think Novak is not getting credit for the 200-foot game he's playing.
Yeah,
I mean, and honestly, Shinnecock is also always in the right place. And, and start the presses, Gino's back checking like it's the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, him picking McDavid's pocket was just a thing of beauty. And the thing I love, I mean, I'm not bashing Connor McDavid necessarily, but I do like the fact that he went over to the bench and was screaming at them as if they somehow were at fault. It's just a classic Gino. But yeah, his back checking is defense. I mean, Gino's game, and I guess we can't pivot this a little bit. He's got to get another year, right? Like, has he played himself to the point that, like, Dubas is like, okay, look, I didn't think this was going to happen, but, like, how do you not?
It's starting to feel that way, isn't it? I know for a fact Kyle did not plan on giving him a new deal after this season, and things change. I don't think anybody expected Gino to put up 1.11 points per game like he's doing right now. They've got more than $50 million in cap space this coming summer, and he's always, he's proven rather that he can play the wing if you want him to play wing. So anybody that thinks, oh, you can't block Ben Kindle, okay, play him at wing, that's okay. He is still a really, really wonderful player in this league. He's better this season than he's been in the last 3 years, I would say. He's forcing the Penguins' hand right now, is he not? Like, I don't have any inside information on it. I know what I heard last summer about Dubas and the front office, and I know they're going to talk in a couple of weeks during the Olympic break. But how do you not bring him back if he's willing to play for $3 or $4 million next year? It's hard not to.
The only fan I'm bigger of than Rusty is Gino. So I may be a little tainted, but he's making $6 now. He said he'll take a pay cut. Where are you going to find a $4 million winger that plays as good as Evgeny Malkin?
Nowhere.
No,
absolutely nowhere. Like, that's why
it's like you're just not. And he can play the wing. Obviously, he's playing the wing, and he's playing whatever you want to say, third line. So he's taking his ego and putting it in check.
And I think it would be one thing if Gino was having this kind of year, but the Penguins still stunk and weren't going to make the playoffs, and you just wanted to kind of move on and, we got to get younger. That would make sense. But all of a sudden, the Penguins, like, the trajectory is like going back up. Like, they are on pace for 101 points. What they're doing is working. Yeah, if I were running the show, I'd bring them back. I don't even think it's a question. And it's not like you're going to find anybody on the market. It's a terrible free agency class this summer. I think he's earned another season if that's what he wants. And trust me, I said after the Edmonton game, I said, Gino, you don't look like a guy who's planning on retiring anytime soon. He said, I never said I retire. You say that. I didn't say that. I hate when they lump the media all together. I didn't say that. So Christ, Gino.
I know. It's on. It made all the. It was aggravated everywhere.
But it was
pretty great.
But it's okay. Like, I mean, I thought I just wanted to bring it up with him because I think it's pretty clear that he's not only playing great hockey because he's a prideful athlete who wants to win, but he clearly is showing Kyle Dubas, like, hey, you watching me every night? I don't want to retire yet, just so you know. I want to roll it back another year, and how could you not at this point?
But I also think, though, he has bought into Dan Muse's system.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's back checking and playing defense. So he's not, he's not doing his Gino dumbass things this year.
Not taking the bad penalties very rarely. He's not turning the puck over. His effort has been great. Even on 3-on-3, he's not jumping on the ice too early. No, I mean, he's put up over a point a game. There's only so many guys that still do that in the NHL. It's a no-brainer.
And if you're in the business of keeping your captain happy, it seems pretty easy to resign him. It doesn't seem like you're doing a big favor.
Yeah, I think we know how Sid feels about that one. I think everybody knows that. And it's also, frankly, we've talked at times on this podcast about how they haven't really done a great job selling tickets this year. Well, the more Geno's around, the more people want to see him play. And that will help with ticket sales and the overall popularity of the team too. So even from a business standpoint, it makes sense. There's no real reason to not bring him back. It's not like you are, preventing a youth movement from taking over the Penguins. Like, if young guys are ready to play, like if Bill Zonnin's ready to play, if Horkoff's ready to play, they'll find room for them. That doesn't mean Geno's going to be in the way. I don't think he would be.
No. There's a lot of 71s in the stands.
Oh yeah. Like
I mean, there's a lot.
It's very close to Sid. Like, we've talked about it on this podcast many times. The connection that he has, it's just
different.
It's just a vibe that he totally fits with Pittsburgh. And man, I keep getting all these things in my feed of Geno talking about Sid, like that one, like where he's like Sid didn't like read the thing where he didn't know like that Geno called him family. And like Sid's eyes were like, like, oh my God, like we're gonna get a tear here. Like it was, I'm getting all kinds of stuff like that. There's another one where like Geno's talking about how Sid came to pick him up from the airport or from the hotel hospital. He was like, it wasn't my wife, wasn't family. It was Sid. So it's the two of them. I think are inseparable. We do got to get to a break here with Bill Neofus, and after the break we're going to talk about the trade deadline. There's a soft one kind of coming up, but also sticking with Geno, I want to hear what happened at the end of the game because that was bizarre. But first, Mr. Bill Neofus of Neofus Insurance.
So I'm still in Vancouver, and I bring this up because long ago, our man Bill Neofus and his wife Jude spent their honeymoon in Vancouver, British Columbia. A little tidbit about our guy Bill, which is I took some shit the other day because I tweeted it's the most beautiful city in North America. Like, all these people from other cities got really offended. Like, I'm sorry, this is an absolutely spectacular place. So I think I'm right. But anyway, Bill's the guy, Neofus Insurance Group. They've been doing it since 1960. All of our sponsors started in 1960, the year Mavs beat the Yankees. That's the way we like it. Whatever your insurance needs are, as we tell you every week, car insurance, home insurance, renter's insurance, pet insurance. It goes on and on and on. These people will have you covered and then some. So give our guy Bill a call, and his staff is unbelievable as well. Going to give you the numbers, 412-364-3388. I'll give it to you one more time, 412-364-3388. Bill and his staff, they will make you feel comfortable. They'll get you the best deals imaginable. So give them a call today. Well, okay, it's late. Give them a call whenever you're listening or tomorrow. They will help you out with anything you need. So Bill's the man, and we thank him for everything.
Thank you, Bill. Always.
Bill, thank you so much.
So looking ahead, this is our looking ahead segment, and we want to get to the trade deadline, but I do want to touch on the Geno thing because I think I saw you tweet about it, Josh. Like, I missed it while I was watching two games at one time at a friend's house, and I didn't see that. I went back and watched it, and I'm like, he went down like he was shot. But it looked painful. It looked like something bad happened. And if I didn't know any better, I would have thought he was going to be out. Did you get any information on that?
Yeah, it was really weird. I mean, everybody saw it by now, and so I understand most people haven't covered NHL games, so they don't know the way it works. In a lot of buildings, we have to go downstairs a couple minutes before the game's over just to get into the locker rooms. It takes a while. So usually there's like big TVs, so we don't miss anything. In Vancouver, there's nothing. It's the worst place ever to cover a game. So we had a monitor about this big outside of the log. Like, we're looking over Potash's shoulder, watching this tiny little monitor. So I didn't get a great look at it at the time, though. I saw Geno went down like a ton of bricks, it looked like. And when you go back, it looks like Mantha maybe bumped his shoulder, and we know that's his bad shoulder, and who knows. So we asked Dan Muse about it after the game, and he said, I don't have anything to report. I don't even think he knew about it, to be honest with you. I don't think he had any clue what we were asking him about. And a few minutes later, he came up to the reporter still there, and he said, hey, I'm pretty sure it's nothing. So after I think he went back and checked, and so preliminary reports, at least from the head coach, which is all I can go on, is he's okay. But and a lot of people in the comment section of my article said, Gino was just messing around. Like, I don't think so. I don't. Have you ever seen a guy mess around like that on the bench the second his team barely wins a game? I think that would be very odd. So I think he felt something.
I
Sure.
think it's funny that you probably got all the rest of if Muse was ever going to grow any hair, you're probably scared it all back in. And someone asked the question, hey, what happened to Gino? He got hurt on the bench. Muse is probably like, what?
No, that for sure. So that was
To
by the
run
way,
back and see for himself. I mean,
yeah, I should mention I'm pretty sure St. Ivany broke his hand, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't I heard whispers about that, and I saw him walking out of the locker room with his jacket very clearly around his hand so nobody could see it. That's usually what that means. So I haven't come on reported Jack St. Ivany broke his hand, but I think he did. So I would
St. Ivany, not exactly Columbo, hiding the secrets. I mean, your hands broke, you're wrapping it up under your jacket.
right.
So that's a good jumping off point. Then who our buddy Mr. Graves, who's played great this year, he's not available. So who's next man? Is
Connor
Caleb Jones
Clifton.
okay?
I mean, Connor Clifton, remember, was a healthy scratch yesterday, and he's been pretty good lately. In fact, I was surprised that St. Ivany went back in. I've kind of liked Clifton's game lately.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think he's fine. So I would think for the time being, with the players they have who are healthy, you're going to see Carlson and Wotherspoon up top. You're going to see Letang and Kulak, and you're going to see Shea and Clifton. I think that's probably, and that's fine. But with St. Ivany hurt and Graves was sick apparently, they actually put him on injured reserve. He was still on the trip. That leaves you, with some depth concerns on the blue line, I think, moving forward. They did just make the trade with Colorado the other day. But just thinking about the trade deadline, guys, like I don't think Kyle's going to do anything crazy. But another defenseman for depth, if nothing less, would probably be a good idea because these forwards are so good right now. And you still got McGroarty and Koivunen who can come up. And will at some point probably got pretty good depth there, but the blue line depth is probably a different story.
Yeah, I apologize to the fans. My fastball wasn't there tonight. I should have had Connor Clifton. Like, what's even the little off my game?
Hey, it was we all got snowed in this weekend, so we're all
in more ways than one.
Yeah. We've been digging ourselves out all day.
Yeah, it was a big championship weekend. Pens win up here in Boston. Lot of fun. And I gotta say, Tanger, I thought he had a great trip. I thought Tanger had a great trip. And Kulak, another thing I was wrong at, Kulak's played good hockey with Tanger.
He's been much better. Kulak was not good at all his first few games, much like Skinner. And I think they both kind of did the reset during the Christmas break. And Kulak's been really good the last few games. I mean, just professional hockey. I think I think Ryan Shea's been great. Like maybe he's limited. He's not the most talented guy in the world. He's a solid player. Like if he's on your third pair, that's pretty good. I think you're in a good spot. And I will go back to the Edmonton game when, Letang was still out, and the Calgary game when Letang and Carlson were out. It was actually the Calgary game. I was talking with Dan Muse after the game. And this is what's great about Dan Muse. Like I love Sully. He was good to deal with, but he wasn't one to chit chat after games. Like Dan Muse just kind of hangs out and talks to the media sometimes for a few minutes. He's gonna BS with you about the game. Like, oh, this is different. Okay. And after the Calgary game, he said, "What'd you think?" And I said, "I think Parker Wotherspoon played his best game of the year. That guy is one hell of a hockey player." And Dan Muse looked at me and he said, "Yes, he is." That's all he said. And I love Wotherspoon, and I love the fact that he has a mean streak. He's got a little psycho streak in his game. He'll go nuts on you if he doesn't like something, and they need that. They haven't had that in a long time on the blue line. I like everything about that guy.
I do too. My friends of mine, we've been talking about how great he's been, and I think if Clifton was 2 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier, I think that's all we would need.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love where his head is. Like he wants to run people, but he's not that big of a guy. It's true.
No, because size matters. Because I'll tell you, I've been watching a lot the last couple of weeks. Brazeau and Mantha really turned the temperature on the stove down. Even if they're not going to fight you, when they just kind of go in and lean on guys, they just put their hands on them and like no one wants to mess with those guys. They're
You
not
get the,
Bob
whoa, whoa,
Probert,
whoa, we're
but
cool.
nobody
we're cool.
nobody wants to mess with Braz. Brazo used to toss him a little bit now, and man, I think he get the job done. So their size is like people just don't really want to get involved.
That's a good point, and it's interesting. Kindle playing with those two. Like a lot of teams have gone after Kindle this year, and he gives it right back, But when he's got those two guys with him, he probably feels a little more confident.
Walk a little taller.
Yeah. I mean, you got a couple of massive human beings on your line, and I noticed teams aren't isolating. He took a couple shots yesterday, but they aren't isolating him quite as much as they were a few weeks ago, I think. So, no, you're right. That size makes a difference, and that blue line has more of an edge right now than it has in a long time. Like Clifton's a little bit of a loose cannon back there. Shea's a tough kid. Letang, for all of his flaws, he's not soft.
He threw some big hits yesterday.
Yes, he did. He'll lose his mind. We know that. Wotherspoon, man. He once every few games, Wotherspoon goes nuts. So I like that they have that physical edge. It's something they haven't had in a really long time back there.
No, and Carlson reminds me of Gaunch, like just tough, just a tough hockey player. Like no one messes with Carlson's not afraid of people.
Yeah, and he's not. I think people have so much respect for him too, and people just like him. So I don't think they take runs at him. He's just one of those guys. He's not an agitator. But yeah, there is more team toughness than there has been in previous years. And you're right with Brazo and Mantha, they are bigger up front. They have that, and Gino still is a physical presence that you don't want to mess with.
Raquel's inserted his attitude a little bit this year.
And he's better when he does that. I love when he goes down low and gets physical. That's an element of his game that, when he's doing that stuff, he's at his best. And that fourth line might not be the biggest fourth line in the world. They're tough.
Oh man, yeah. They like
They'll all dance. They'll all dance too.
Oh yeah.
There's not many people that want to.
That's half the battle. That's half the battle in the NHL nowadays. It's just pretend, like just be willing to.
Yeah. We're talking about this right now, guys, and it strikes me. Like, I know the Penguins are winning, and that makes everyone happy, but this is just a likable team.
Yep.
Like, Pittsburgh really likes this team. There's something about just a gritty quality to these guys that I think really has drawn Penguins fans in. Everybody's just so fired up about this team right now.
Well, it is because they are very lovable. They're lovable guys, for a lot of reasons, but one is they all play hard. No one's just water skiing around. No one's doing the free skate. No one's going out there, cherry picking, not really back checking. From Sir Sidney to Gino to everybody down the list to the fourth line, they all bust their ass.
They do. And I was at practice in Vancouver the other day. I was talking with Emma Kilmer is one of the greatest media relations people in the world. You got to give them love. Emma's great, and I said to her, Emma, there's not one asshole in this room right now, is there? And she kind of thought about it. She said, no, there's really not. It's just a likable group of people. It truly is. And we're going to be bored during the Olympic break because this team's so much fun right now, and they're going to be gone for a few weeks.
What do you mean? We're going to be doing public appearances up on Mount Washington with our.
We may do that
with Team One.
Stay tuned, everybody.
We're lining that up. Shout out to one of my all-time favorites. I think we did this in summer programming. Favorite Penguins who never won the cup. And mine is always Ryan Bugsy Malone. Bugsy's got to be, he's like undefeated. I swear to God, when he does the intermissions, we win.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Talk about bringing edge to the game. We were talking about how much edge there is on the nastiness on the team. I mean, now we got it in the broadcast booth too. You got Caulfield and Bugsy.
By the way, did you know Bugsy does work for Tampa TV as well?
Yes, he does.
And he was on in Tampa the night the Penguins played there in December and won. So see, whenever Bugsy's around, good things happen. He's just the kind of guy you like having around,
Yep.
I know, but literally every time I see it's Bugsy, I'm like, good, we're in good hands.
Yeah. Yeah. The likable, like I kind of mentioned this last week, where you're seeing the pieces come together. And the more I thought about it, watching the West Coast game, Western Canada games, thinking, like you said, it's just like you can see the personalities really gel on this team. you can see that. And I'm not comparing them saying like they're going to go on a run like 2015-16, but I remember that feeling like where you were like, oh, this is like a team, like they're really pulling for each other, because we've all been there. Like we've seen the years where you've got Jerome McGinley dancing on the outside, like, it's like, oh yeah, he scored a bunch of goals in the past, but is he really, is Patrick Marleau really a Penguin? Like,
That's a, that's a
there's
better
just
and I mean, listen, there have been, you mentioned Iginla, who's like the nicest guy ever, but
yeah.
Ray Shero was a great GM. He made a mistake that year. He already had a great team, and he brought in way too many people who were new, and they never really gelled. But no, this team, you're right. There is a real chemistry, and I think part of it, like you have Crosby and Malkin and Carlson and Letang. So it sounds crazy to say this with all these future, Hall of Fame type players. But there's a blue collar element to this team, the way they play the game, like the way they work. Sidney Crosby is one of the hardest working players ever. We all know that. He came off the ice in practice in Calgary a few days ago, and we're just sitting there chatting. Like 20 minutes later, Raquel finally comes off the ice, and Sid looked at him. He said, "What were you doing out there that whole time?" And Raquel just said, "Oh, I worked on this drill, and I wanted to do this drill, and I wanted to do." Like, this team does not cheat you on effort. The work they put in every day is different than other Penguins teams I've covered. There have been Penguins teams, especially like 2012, 13 in that era, like got a little full of themselves, quite honestly. This team's not like that at all.
They play like Boston.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
They're playing that semi-boring, but a team game, and they got guys that can score. That's what's funny about the deadline is I don't know. I haven't felt this way in years. I don't know where I would add, other than a 6'3", 235-pound defenseman that likes to fight. But we already have we got the nuclear weapon, my man, in Wilkes-Barre. So I don't really exactly know, because I don't think we're going to find better. I mean, obviously, if you can get a true number one defenseman, then Wotherspoon moves down the list. But other than that, I don't know where you. I mean, I love our lines right now, or we get a more potent. I mean, you're going to find someone that you think is going to play harder and maybe score a big goal and make you feel like a Troy Loney's playing than Dewars.
No,
you're going to find a better fourth line center than Lizotte. Maybe you might find a bigger guy. You're not going to find someone that bites the tires.
I wouldn't do.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do, Joe. Sorry, I wouldn't do anything at forward. I mean, listen, we know who the top 12 are. It's pretty clear right now. And like I said, sure, somebody's going to get hurt. Well, you got McGroarty just waiting in the wings. Okay. It's a really good player. That's a nice option to have. And Koivunen, I know, is disappointing, but, he has talent. Like, I don't think he's going to hurt you if he comes up and plays. It probably is as good as anyone else you're going to get out there. You don't have to give up anything to bring him in. So you got those. So even Bros at some point, like, hey, okay, he's down there. They like him. Like they go about 15 deep at forward right now. When you look at it that way, I don't know that they need to go out and get a forward and give up an asset. Blue line, I would still love to see them get a right-handed defenseman. I like Clifton. He's fine. I kind of like him better as a number 7 guy than I do a 6, and I feel the same about St. Ivany. If you could get like a really rugged, defensive-minded guy to play with Shea and to make that your third pairing, I think that would probably go a long way. But yeah, we obviously like the goalies right now, and you've got Murashov. He's down there. If you need a spark, if somebody struggles, you can bring him up. So forward and goaltending, you don't need any help there. And I don't think you have to do anything radical on the blue line. But my guess is that's probably where Kyle will be looking in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I was kind of looking, once you see trade deadline stuff comes up. I mean, Josh, with your articles, that always pops off. But I saw, like the Rangers, it's like I kind of went to the Rangers roster almost like I was shopping. Like whenever you're like, I don't really need to buy anything at the grocery store, but like, let me go down this aisle and just kind of like look. And I'm like, there's a couple things here that like I'd be okay with, but really like there's nothing I'd take off that corpse and place onto this team. And it changes the vibe of the team. It changes the chemistry. So I don't think they do anything. I agree. I think it's gonna be depth, and so it'll be interesting. But trade deadline day, You never know. There's always a surprise. A little bit about looking ahead here we got Chicago, the Rangers, and Ottawa. So obviously we were saying we hope we take 6 out of 6. We'll take 5 out of 6, whatever it may be. The Rangers coming here on Saturday is the one that I kind of wanted to talk about because, first of all, it's Sully coming back. And it's the first time Sully is not first time he's back, but first time he's back since it's been not going well in New York and they've decided to sell. And like Joe said, they copy and pasted their Word doc from a couple years ago and tweeted it out again. So the Rangers are coming in. Sully's going to be here, and they're going to honor the 2016 Stanley Cup team. So, Penguins fans, if you're going to pack the PPG Paints Arena, this is the time right now. I mean, we got 3 very winnable games on a team that everybody loves, but also a chance to honor the hard to believe 10th anniversary of their 4th Stanley Cup. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing it. And you know what? It'll probably be nice for Mike Sullivan, even though I'm sure he's a little embarrassed with how things have gone in New York. Sure, it will be. And I think he's going to take part in the pregame ceremony. So that'll be a pretty cool thing to see. It's Jim Rutherford's first ever game back in Pittsburgh. I was talking with Jim today, and he is unbelievably excited to come back for this event. That will be nice to see. And a lot of guys from those teams, Carl Hagelin and Patrick Hornquist, are coming from Sweden. Matt Cullen, a lot of other the big names will be there. So I'm sure it will be a sellout on Saturday afternoon. It's a nationally televised game, I think. I think it's on ABC, I want to say, or ESPN. Listen, it's one of the great teams in Penguins history. And I can't believe it's been 10 years either. That actually concerns me greatly. I feel very old right now. But no, it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere, Joe. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I'm going to be in attendance. It's going to be fabulous. I can't wait. There's a thing now where I guess Sunday was the 1,000th game that Sid, Gino, and Tanger have played together, and it's a remarkable achievement. But when you think about it, it should be like 1,500 games. That's how much each of those guys has been injured.
Yeah.
You had the concussions with Sid. You had the heart attacks and strokes with Tanger. You had the knees with Gino. Because think about it, they played 20 years. That should be 20 times 70.
Yeah, plus work stoppages.
And I'm not good at math, but that's way more than 1,000.
It's part of the Penguin curse. For all the incredible talent we've had the privilege of watching. A lot of injuries and illnesses have been there, obviously, with Mario, who never even played 1,000 games in his career because of all the health ailments he dealt with. And people forget Jágr for years, as durable as he was in his later years, had groin problems for years, really affected him, and he missed a lot of games. So, yeah, you're right. It is interesting that that's all they've played together. But still going strong. And I tweeted it out today. Like, listen, Dubas has been unbelievable the last year. Muse was the right guy. They've got scoring depth now. Carlson's back to being Carlson. It's still about 87 and 71. Like,
yep.
It still is. I mean, those are both guys putting up more than a point per game, who are just dominant still at times, who are leading the way for the Penguins. It's amazing. There's never been anything quite like it. 2 guys, teammates for that long, who are still this good. It's something.
Yeah, and they are completely not ruining developing anybody. If anything, they're enhancing developing people. Kindle has his own line, so he can play center and be protected. Gino is playing with 2 younger guys, and it's like they're getting their chance.
And no, I'm glad you brought that up, Joe. And Ben Kindle, for those who don't know, his locker is literally right beside Sid's. And I see him some days in there just sitting there kind of soaking it all in. You can literally see Ben just watching how Sid composes himself, how he handles himself. I'm telling you, that's a real thing. And that's a big deal for an 18-year-old kid to be around that, probably for a few more years. And I asked Sid one time, I said, how'd you become such of a great captain? Like, is it all natural? Like, how'd you do this? And Sid said, no. He said, I'd never been a captain until I got to Pittsburgh. And I said, what? And he said, no, I always played up a couple of years, so they're always older guys. I was never the captain. And I said, well, "Oh, how'd you figure it out?" And he said, "Well, I played like 20 games with Mario." And he said, "I just watched what he did, and I learned so much just in those few months." And that I really kind of incorporated that into myself. So I'm not saying Ben Kindle is going to be the captain someday, although who knows. But I think those young guys being around him and being around Gino and Latang too, and the way they work, the way they prepare, that's a real thing.
That's I think with Will Horkoff when you mention him, like people who come up next year and if Gino comes back, hopefully, and it looks like he will probably. I want people like Will Horkoff to see Gino and Sid in their mastering their craft. I mean,
Sure.
you know, hopefully he's coming off a national championship at Michigan, so he'll be like, oh, the championship vibes, and now I'm following in the footsteps of these great champions, and it'll be great to see the whole 2016 gang, because I mean that team, Josh, when you were having difficulties with, I can't remember if it was before we were recording or before when you had difficulties, but Joe and I were talking about that team, and we're talking about how March is so important, which, by the way, speaking of looking ahead, March is going to be daunting, as Joe and I went over that a little bit. But I remember in March of that year thinking, I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. Like it just,
You can
it's
feel it.
yeah, it's going to happen. And so to learn from a group like that and to see that, it's just the parallels that are there. I'm not saying they're a Stanley Cup team. Everybody relax. I know I'm the one that gets out over my skis every time they go on a winning streak. But I think it'll be fitting. It'll be nice to see Sully have a good thing for him. But before we so there's a couple other things that happened around TAN is what we're going to get to next. And that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we get there, we'll talk about Danny's Pizzas and Hoagies. And Alex, I put up Alex's comment earlier, but Alex had to have been thrilled. He has to be riding high right now with a 4-0 West Coast trip. So Joe, take
extra Italian dressing on that Italian hoagie, like when the Penguins won 4 in a row.
I'm sure he's very excited. He's ecstatic. He lives Penguins hockey the way we do. That's why he's the perfect sponsor and just such a great guy. And not only is he the perfect sponsor and he loves hockey, he also makes the best goddamn hoagie not in Pennsylvania, in the world. I'm craving one right now in Boston. I can't wait to get back there this week. It's Danny's Pizza and Hoagies. They're at 5159 Library Road, Bethel Park, PA, basically right before you get to South Park. They're over on the left, an iconic building, just like an old 1960 building. It just looks like a pizza place from the 60s. The pizza is also excellent. The steak sandwich is excellent. That was my dad's favorite. But what I say is get an Italian and get a square cut pepperoni while you wait. And if Alex is there, he'll come out and he will talk Penguins hockey all day long. He will get behind on his work because he loves talking hockey. No one loves talking hockey more than he loves. He loves talking hockey as much as I do. The phone number is 412-833-7788. Call pickup. It's very fast, super delicious food. It's the best. It's just the best. And I know he loves this segment too. The doing the Lord's work. Who did the most to inflict pain, damage, and suffering to the creamsicles across the state? We're gonna split the award in two this week. Both from the Fuzzy Elephants out there in Utah. Jack McBain crushed Mr. Drysdale and then just beat the hell out of Julson, who good at Julson to step in for Drysdale, but you don't want to mess with Jack McBain. Talk about it, maybe a nice addition, but he's not going anywhere because the Fuzzy Elephants are in the playoffs. But really, the real winner of the award, but I had to give to McBain for the violence, is the captain, Clayton Keller, ties the game late and wins it in overtime, doing the Jaromir Jagr, if you will. So Clayton Keller and Big Jack McBain doing the Lord's work. And thank you, Alex and family, everyone at Danny's Pizza. You know, those guys are they're the best staff. They know their hockey. Anyone standing there working, not saying they're working, we'll talk hockey with you. They're the best, from the young kids to the grizzled old pizza veterans. They love their Penguins hockey down there at Danny's.
Now, Joe, is this one of those nights where I'm not allowed to tell you the scores of games going on because you're going to watch them later?
No. Go right
Creamsicle
ahead.
just got their asses kicked tonight at home. They got shut out by the Islanders 4-0. So I figured you'd be happy to hear that.
I'm ecstatic to hear that. And you know what's funny? And this is like the ultimate dilemma. If it's like if it's like the Flyers have to lose for the Penguins to make the playoffs, like I don't think I root for the Flyers.
Yeah.
Like I never root for it's like, oh, it's probably better, if probably to the outsiders you think, oh, why are you rooting for the Fishermen? No, because I never want to see the Flyers win. That's why.
Well, did you watch like the 2010 Stanley Cup through like a crack between your two fingers, like with one eye open, like because I remember
was so bummed because I was like, oh my God, we're finally ahead of them 3-2. But thank God for Patrick Kane, greatest American hero, Patty Kane. And they didn't even blow the horn for him. Those
is that your favorite non-Penguins goal of all time? To break the Flyers' heart in a Stanley Cup final game? Got to be up there.
Yeah. Well, that and a Ruzioni. That and a Ruzioni.
Right.
Yeah,
that's how big.
That's how much you hate the Flyers. Well,
you gotta go back to a Ruzioni.
Absolutely. Well, someone else that probably hates the Flyers, and if we could ever get this man, the new Steelers head coach Mike McCarthy, Greenfield native, true Yinzer, and I'll be honest with you, like. There was never a time in my life where I thought I'd be like, hey, we should have Mike Tomlin on the Two for Talking podcast. But I am really curious to see his Yinzer roots in I would love to know. I mean, maybe he's answered it before. If Mike McCarthy is a big Penguins fan, for back in the day, going to games in the 70s, maybe he was there with Joe and, just in different sections. But we have Mike McCarthy coming in, and the internet reactions have been schizophrenic at best. I mean, all over the place, and I don't think it's a bad hire. It's against what they normally do, and that's fine, and really, to me, it's all about the quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you have nothing, and this guy might be the best one to bring in the next one.
I agree with that statement completely. If you don't have a good quarterback, just watching the game is terrible. I'll give 3 quick thoughts, or maybe 2, or maybe 1 quick. I think it's a very uninspired choice. I don't think it took much effort to get Mr. McCarthy. But I don't think that Art the Third is the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I think this was the easiest thing for him to do. So he did it. But I'm not going to be down on it, Josh, because he's a Pittsburgh guy. And I'm happy a Pittsburgh guy got the job. Good for him, and I'll be rooting my ass off for him. And he's a Pittsburgh guy, and he's a coach of the Steelers. I'm happy for him, but I don't think it was the greatest. I think he could have been a more inspired choice.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this. My first thought was, would they have hired Mike McCarthy if he wasn't from Pittsburgh? And is that a little strange? That was my first instinct. He is not a bad coach. Like his career arc is stunningly similar to Mike Tomlin, who I was very critical of. I never said Mike Tomlin was a bad coach. He didn't know how to hire a staff. But I don't think McCarthy's a bad coach. I like that he's an offensive-minded guy, which is something I think they probably badly need. And the truth is, what do we really know about Chris Shula or all these young guys that are we don't know shit about them.
Yeah.
We get seduced by the idea of a young coach who everyone says is good. Like, oh, we want that guy. We don't know anything about them. Let's be honest here. Okay. So uninspired is probably the right word. I don't think anybody's going to run through a wall when they find out Mike McCarthy's the coach of the Steelers. And it's going to be a different era in Steelers football because the guy's 62 years old. Like, I don't think he's going to be around for 15 or 20 years like Cowher or Tomlin were. So that in and of itself is different. I don't love the hire. I don't hate it. I kind of feel bad for him. Like all the shit on the internet. Jeez, it's like really excessive. Like this should be a wonderful celebration for him. And I wonder how he's going to feel at the press conference, and if anyone's going to ask him tomorrow, about the crowd, fan reaction hasn't been great. But I always say this too: what you see on Twitter, that's not always real life.
No,
it's not. Like, I know there's some people on social media hate Jim Rutherford because he quit during the season, and how dare he? There's not going to be one person who boos Jim Rutherford on Saturday in Pittsburgh. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. At least that's the way the Penguins Twitter versus reality is.
Yes.
For sure. I do. You woke up something in my head that all of a sudden I'm really even more excited about McCarthy for, because I had wanted. I just don't trust Rooney at all. I wanted to have Cowher in the meetings, in these interviews, just so people understood what the Steeler way is.
Yeah.
What it means to be a Steeler. And I think that McCarthy does know, because obviously he's a little bit older. So he was around. He saw the 70s up close, more up close than I did. And he knows what it means to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he has pride coming back and coaching this team. And I think he's going to bring it back to what it meant to be a Steeler. And he's not. Look, our offense. We have a guru that can. We have no one can figure out our offense. I want someone that knows that when at the Steelers, they're not going to quit. They're not going to be taking a Gatorade break when it's 3rd and 7. They're not going to be dancing like prima donnas. They're not going to do this. They're not. They're just going. I know the world has changed, and it's not Vince Lombardi and Chuck Noll anymore. But I just want to get back to a little bit of the Steelers had the class and an organization that you could look up to and be proud of, and not, frankly, the kind of the joke it's turned into.
Yeah. I agree. And I saw, somebody on Twitter really irritated me today. I got to stop responding. I didn't respond. I wanted to. I saw somebody said, I wonder if he can own the locker room the way Mike Tomlin could. I just want to see them win a playoff game. All right.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if he owns the locker. I don't even know what that means. And Mike McCarthy, by the way, is a very well-liked guy. I've never heard a bad word about him. I know people who know him. People love this guy. So I think he's a wonderful person. And let me say this too. No matter who the head coach is, I think the staff he hires is so important. It was Tomlin's biggest failing. He would hire his buddies, guys who are never going to challenge his authority. We all know he did that. Let's see who Mike McCarthy hires, because that staff is every bit as important to me as who's calling the shots. And I think we all assumed when he was named coach that meant Rodgers was probably going to come back. We don't know that, but we know those two are really close. So it's probably best case scenario for a year. I know some don't agree with that. I don't know who's out there right now that they could get who's better than Rodgers. Long term, of course, they still need a quarterback. I don't think this is the draft to do it.
I mean, like, what are they going to do? Move up to the first pick and take Mendoza? Like, you're not like, that's not happening.
Realistically,
like, are you going to be able to get somebody? Are you going to be able to move up to 10 and find the quarterback of the future? I don't think so this year. And like you said, the free agent, like, I don't know. I think the best thing for them, obviously, probably Mason's still going to be here. He has another year. I can't imagine they're going to cut Mason, but keep the quarterback room the same and let Will Howard get some experience in the preseason, and another year for him. And then I'm with Madden's theory of like, hey, I forget, Mike DeFabo may have said it on a show. It's like, maybe you go 3-14 with Will Howard, and it's the best of both worlds. You let the people who think Will Howard is the next Tom Brady get their chance to have their guy go out there, and then he just, screws it up, and you get your pick. I think it's going to be a minute before we have the next guy, unless, Will Howard does.
Will Howard. regardless of who the quarterback is, regardless of who the quarterback is, Mike McCarthy has an offense from Green Bay and Dallas that's going to know where they're going to throw the ball to tight end. Is it going to run those damn screen passes that never go anywhere? He may not be McVay's genius guru behind the scenes, but the man has run an offense for 20 years that has looked a hell of a lot better than the 20 years I've watched Steeler offenses.
No, yeah. And one thing about McCarthy, he does have a history of working really well with quarterbacks. and even if he's only in Pittsburgh for a few years, whatever, they are going to draft the future quarterback at some point in the next year or two. And just to have him work with whoever that is for even a couple of years, that could pay real dividends. Mike DeFabo actually wrote a really good article about that the other day at The Athletic, and he's right. Having a real quarterback guru around is something they've never really had. And the way the game is played these days, that's not a bad thing to have.
62 is not that old either. They act like he's like 90 years old. I mean,
know.
it's like he's got at least 10 years.
Oh yeah, like he can do a decade, no problem. And
That's
like,
fair.
Yeah, and let's face it, all of these coaches that we've all loved. I mean, Cowher kind of had a nice swan song, but he dipped. The first 10 is what you want. It's the next 10 that's the adjutant.
That's true.
I don't want him for 20 years. I want him for a good 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and also, I mean, he
Bartnick's not going to give you 20, but he'll give you a good 10. I like that. Sorry, my mind must have gone in the gutter for a second.
no, that's what I thought.
I can do 40. I can do 50 standing on my head. I can do 50 right now. All my new jokes are right here.
I like how Josh thought his head went in the gutter, and Joe's sitting there thinking about comedy.
That's all I think about, guys. Comedy and hockey.
Yeah. No, it's it'll be an interesting.
It's a great life. And actually in Danny's Hoagies. I'm thinking about one right now.
Oh my God. I didn't know I was hungry until you started talking about it. And I'm like, I'm the furthest thing. I'm not really close to the South Hills, but I gotta just swing by and pick one up.
One down.
If this show does anything, it's going to be begging Alex to open on Mondays and Tuesdays. The man's off on Mondays and Tuesdays. It's always like what?
Maybe he could hire you as part-time manager. And you just be in there eating, just like point people in the right direction, make sure
all the
happens.
profits. Getting high on my own supply over there. I'd be guzzling the Italian the Italian dressing. Let's move quickly. It's so funny in your pregame notes, Corey. You put national championship game. I feel like that was like 3 seasons ago.
I know. It felt like it was a million years
I almost
ago.
didn't remember that game.
I know. It's like I literally think I had to like, oh wait, national championship. Like, was that 2 weeks ago or was that last?
But did we talk about it last week? Or
I think we did. I don't think we actually got to it because we did the show afterwards. But I mean, the Curt Cignetti. Have you seen? Maybe something on that since we did talk about it a little bit. Curt Cignetti. Have you seen all the memes of him like? Looking at stuff like people are like, oh, my wife watching while I'm, loading the dishwasher, all that kind of stuff. But what a badass, because they were talking about on DVE saying IUP got so much cred during that game. He was an IUP coach. His dad was from IUP. I think somebody else on the staff coached at IUP. He walked in the room at his press conference. Did you see this? What he said when he walked in? He said, Google me, I win. Or no, he said, I win. All I do is win. Google me. And I was like, oh, shit. That's pretty badass for some dude that nobody heard of.
My favorite thing Cignetti ever did was after the semifinal game when the lady was like, so yeah, but you must be thinking about this game next week, and he goes, I'm actually just thinking about having a cold beer. That's the most Pittsburgh answer ever.
And that's what makes him so likable. As the kids say, he's real. Like, he's a real one. He is. And that authenticity. So many college football coaches are just utterly unlikable people. And then there's this guy. Like, who wouldn't want to play for him?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I were Art Rooney, I would have given him a call in all seriousness. I know that's not the Steelers' way to bring college guys, but no, he's living the dream right now.
Yeah.
I don't even want that for Cignetti. I want him to be happy in Indiana.
Yeah.
I
That's
know. It'd be a miserable experience for him. Well, why would he walk away? He turned Indiana. Like, I can't. I made this comparison. I said this would be like the Cleveland Browns winning the World Series. Like, that's how out of nowhere this is. You know what I mean? like because like how it like goes across sports. Like Indiana, you almost didn't even realize they had a football team.
Yeah, this is like Duquesne winning the NCAA basketball tournament or something. Like
that's a good analogy, Josh.
They've always been pathetic. Always.
Like in my lifetime, I was a huge Big East college basketball fan. Huge. That's why I went to Pitt for a semester and a half to get Jerome Lane free tickets. So that's the truth.
Yeah.
It's equivalent to what Jim Calhoun did at Connecticut.
Yeah.
Like Connecticut was an absolute doormat in the Big East.
And then just completely turned. It's wild.
Now, but they have like I think they have 5 now, at least 4. It's like 3 with
4
Calhoun and 1 with the other guy. Yeah, I mean, and they're a national power. And who knows in 3 years if Cignetti, they don't get the NIL money they need, or there's some quarterback gets hurt, then who knows what's going to happen. But I mean, for this 1 year, it's the greatest accomplishment you've ever seen. Yeah. It really is like Duquesne basketball. But even basketball lends itself to, okay, this kid gets hot from 3 for 6 rounds, and they win they win the Atlantic 10 or wherever the hell they play now, and then they beat somebody, they beat some teams, they get to the Final Four. Football is such a sport where there's hardly any upsets. Usually the best teams win because they're physically better than everybody. And this team was just better than everybody. Miami put up a good fight. God bless them.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, Indiana was just, I mean, the way they rolled through teams, I mean, they disemboweled the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I think it's going to get interesting here too with the way I think the college football playoff needed this, a 10th seed to make it this far. I think because the first year of 12 teams, it was so comically uncompetitive in the first round, like it was just bad football. So it'd be interesting, but yeah, that, and I guess next week we can preview the Super Bowl. We've got a couple weeks to go through that. So but yeah, that'll do it for us this week on Two for Talking.
Sorry about the Wi-Fi issues. Blame Canada. Like that. It's not my fault.
I mean, if you're a South Park fan, to blame Canada. So we could just play that song. But we appreciate you as always, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. Go get a hoagie.